Hello, my name is Dave Persons, and I want to talk to you for a few minutes about overcoming worry and fear that can have a tendency to paralyze us. In the scriptures in the early church, we read those words of Jesus. It says, we're not to worry. Just take each day as it comes and somehow be like the flowers that just bloom and pass in wind and storm, and like the birds of the air, which are just beautiful but seem to have no care and seem to always find their food. How can we do that? We live in a historical period, it seems, when revolutions are apparently going on all over the world. In the Middle Eastern countries, which control so much of the oil that we use to keep our economy going, leadership may be changing to a much more democratic, representative form of government, and may take years. And people are wondering, what's that going to do to the price of oil? What will happen to our economy? I got an email the other day from a respected source, and here it was a man telling me that he had correctly guessed and predicted the big recession of 2008, and he sees it getting much worse now. And so he's advising if I would take all of my money, all of my savings, and get all of my friends and send it to him, that he'll make it secure for what he sees as a much worse financial fault coming in the near future. Well, I'd like to tell him sometime about the time that I swam across the Atlantic Ocean too. There's all sorts of that. Of course, we worry about our health. We're getting older. Worry about our children, our relatives. We worry about our churches. 3,000 or so every year in North America are closing. Will ours be next? And we wonder what will happen. What is going on? How can I not worry? Well, I think the key is starting with that idea that I've said before of establishing who we are, our identity. It's so easy to forget. Who are we? We're one with God in our spirit. We're not talking about our body, but we're talking about that soul, that mind, as some call it, within us. You can call it whatever you want, but it's the God self. To know that we are God's sons, God's daughters by our creation, extending to us that same spirit. And so when one understands that is our identity, we lose the identity with form and structure and our body, which gives us so much trouble and takes so much of our concern. When we can understand ourselves as spirit, then we begin to look at the world around us with a different perspective and with a different reaction. We understand it is not our home, we're just passing through, that we're in this world, but we're not of the world. It's like the writer in that little book of 1 John that says that we are to love not the world or the things of the world, because they're all going to pass away. They are of the flesh. Now, if we can remember that and focus on that, we can make a choice in our lives which can be powerful about how we adapt to the transient world around us. In my first year of college, I had to memorize and say the reading by William Hensley titled, "I am captain of my own soul." And let me read some of that, because I think it so applies to us if we see that we can take charge of our soul, our mind. Let me read it. "Out of the night that covers me, black as a pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced or cried aloud. Under the bludgeoning of chance, my head is bloody but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. For I am the captain of my own soul." Can you claim that you're a captain of your own mind and make choices? A sign on a school lawn near me says that life just happens, but 90% of it is how we react to it. I would like to say 100% of it is how we react to it, how we think about it. And if we can think of everything around us as transient, except our spirit, our essence, our God self, our Christ mind, it can give us peace, can give us assurance, even when things seem to be crumbling all around us. A few days ago, a new owner took over the local Buffalo Sabres, and one of the first things he said in the interview is, regardless of what it costs, he's going to have as a goal to get this team to get to and win the Stanley Cup in the Stanley Cup Finals. Well, the whole spirit of the community seemed to go up a notch, and the team's playing seems to go up a notch. Everybody likes to identify with a winner and not a loser. The same way with you and I in our own thinking. Don't identify with that which is mortal, passing, and is so susceptible to heat and cold and youth and aging and health and sickness. That's not who you are. That's just a vehicle that we temporarily pass through our journey with, called the body. So remember who you are, spirit. Now I have to confess that throughout much of our church history, this has not been its emphasis. We've been told it's all outside of us. God's up there or out there or in somebody else. And if I sacrifice and say the right things and do the right things, I will find peace and I will find contentment. And it's put it all outside of us, where the message of Jesus, which was so simple, it's who you are. It's within you. If you accept it, you become aware of it. And you will recognize that you are indeed the son or the daughter of God. So you don't have to go to church. You don't have to make any sacrifice. You just have to understand it. That's what repentance means. Changes your mind from thinking it's out there and everybody else has it, but I have it too. I can breathe it in. I can know it. I can live it. I can overcome my fear of always losing, and realize that in God's world, in Spirit's world, there are no losers or winners, but we are all one. And it's true. Years ago, some have tried to point out that we needed this emphasis in the Christian church, but many thought it was pagan. It was not according to those 4th century precepts. In 1901, there was a book printed by a doctor from Toronto. His name was Dr. Richard Burke, and he had a vision of what would happen in the next century or so, and these are some of his things. All religions known and named today will just melt down. Boy, we're seeing that happen. Religion will not be just a part of life belonging to certain hours, times, and occasions. It will be life. It will not dwell in churches, in meetings, in forms, or in any special days. It just is. Its life will not be in prayers, hymns, or discourses. And churches, priests, forms, creeds, prayers, all agents, all intermediaries between the individual person and God, will be permanently replaced by direct, unmistakable awareness. It's here. It's yours. It's offered to you. Receive it. And how do you experience it? Well, we use our reason. We realize that nothing in this world is fixable. It's all gray. There's no black and white. And every time you think you know for sure, remember somebody else does too. And so it's gray here. It can't be any other way. We don't know anything about which we could know. So let it be. Let it go. It's unknowable. And secondly, do what I say, the practice of just giving to others without any expectation of return, just for the sake of giving. And you will experience that largeness in your soul. And then the last very simple thing that all of us can do everywhere is just meditate on it. Meditate by breathing it in, by being alone, going to a place for a few days which is simple, outdoors, a park, a wilderness, and you will find that silence, and you will know that God indeed is with you. So learn to not worry so much, and to be happy a little bit more. You do that by your understanding who you are, by expressing it in random acts of kindness to others, and by spending some time each day meditating upon it, breathing it in, and letting it feel a part of every cell in your body. God bless you with understanding and service, and in your prayers, with a kind of peace which surpasses all understanding in this world and is with you forever. Namaste, and God be with you.